Hey everyone, welcome to Cyberscoop TV. Greg Otto, your managing editor here. We're coming to you live from the floor of the 2017 RSA conference. Talking with Monzy Merza, the Director of Security Research for Splunk. Monzy, talk to us a little bit about some of the trends that you're seeing, especially the need for automation and machine learning as enterprises are trying to wrap their hands around all the data that's coming into their systems.
So a few years ago, when I first started down my career in security, and we talk about automation as a security practitioner, as a researcher, people would literally throw me out the room, and they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to talk about it because there was too much risk. I think now the tide has turned completely, where the challenges are so vast, and the human resources are so constrained, and the attackers are changing their tactics so quickly, and there's so much dynamism in the environment.
Right.
That the automation has become a central component in what's going on. And I think part of that is the other side of the coin is to say, well, if we're going to do automation, how do you build context? How do you build more confidence? And so it's no longer about whether we do automation or not. It's more about how do we make automation, and how do we do automation in a responsible fashion aligned with the business posture.
Okay, so along with that automation, threat hunting is becoming a big thing as well. You're starting to see enterprises have the need to almost act in an offensive capability to go find hackers. Talk to me about what you're seeing in the threat hunting space.
So what a lot of our customers do today is they will take things that are pre-built. So for example, they will use Splunk Enterprise Security, or they'll use Splunk user behavior analytics technologies to bubble things up so that they can pay attention to something, and they don't want their analysts to spend time on those things anymore because they have deep-rooted trust in what the technology is providing them. The next level now is they're saying, okay, we want to apply our analysts' intuition and knowledge on things that the machines are not yet able to quantify or codify. And more organizations are starting with some sort of threat hunting teams where they're applying some set of hypotheses on what they're looking for. They start in a very organized way, and then they address those. And the key piece there is that they need capability such that it's simple for the analysts to apply their intuition. So threat hunting is becoming more and more an approach that organizations are taking, but there is now a higher and higher requirement such that analysts can apply their intuition without having to learn programming languages, even when it comes to machine learning technology. They don't want their security professionals to be data scientists necessarily, because there's not enough of those to go around. So they're looking for pre-built capability so those security experts can apply sophisticated techniques using pre-built capability and apply their intuition to those.
So with automation and with threat hunting, you're starting to see a lot of organizations have to move into an adaptive response sort of mechanism in order to protect themselves. If I'm an enterprise that's looking to get more adaptive, how can I use Splunk to get to that sort of mind frame?
The key piece that we hear from customers constantly about adaptive response is the following. They say, I've invested a lot of money and a lot of energy into my security deployments. I have a lot of different technologies that I use. So what I want to do is not just collect data from those technologies. I want to be able to interact with those technologies to gather context, to preserve evidence, or to make configuration changes to block something. So what we're seeing more and more is this notion that you're going to collect data into Splunk, you're going to bring in from whatever sources they come in, we're going to provide some context around that, and so that they can now reach back. And so what we did in recognizing that is that adaptive response and security really as a whole being a security ecosystem solution, not a single vendor's problem or a single customer's problem, we have the adaptive response initiative. So now any number of technology providers on the show floor today, these providers integrate with Splunk, not just to provide logs into Splunk, but where Splunk can reach back out and drive focus across multiple technologies from an endpoint, and then driving it all the way up to a firewall, or taking knowledge from a firewall and driving it down to an endpoint to gather context, to do configuration changes, or to preserve evidence so that the customers can move their operations forward faster.
Great. Well, Monzy, thanks for taking some time to talk with us today about all the things that Splunk is doing, and look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Thank you so much for having me, and it wouldn't be a Splunk discussion without a Splunk t-shirt, so this is for you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Let's see what we got here. Ninjas are too busy. This man must be busy all the time, because this man's a security ninja. So thank you for tuning in today for all of our videos. Check out our YouTube channel for more information on the RSA conference and all things cybersecurity. Check out cyberscoop.com. Thanks for watching.